I should have slammed the door the second I saw her. Instead, my fingers froze on the knob like they were waiting for permission. Waiting for her, the very woman who once shattered my career, to stumble back into my life at 2 a.m, drunk and desperate. "Can I come in?" she asked, her voice low, frayed, trembling with something I couldn't name. No apology. No explanation. Just the weight of history hanging between us. Her name was Evelyn Hart. Cold as marble, brilliant as fire. The editor who shredded my manuscript, shredded me, and then walked away without a backward glance. The woman who once told me, with her perfect lipstick curve and sharpened words, "You'll never make it in this industry if you keep writing like this." And here she was, on my doorstep, smelling faintly of whiskey and regret. I hated her. I wanted her. Both truths were equally unbearable. "Why are you here?" My voice cracked despite the wall I tried to build. She leaned against the doorframe, her breath uneven. "Because there's nowhere else I could go." It should have been pathetic. But it wasn't. It was Evelyn, sharp, untouchable Evelyn, slipping off her armor in front of me for the first time. And damn me, but part of me ached at the sight. The thing about betrayal is it never really leaves you. 2 years ago, I was an aspiring author with a fresh voice and a naive hope. My manuscript landed on Evelyn's desk. She was already a star in the publishing world. The woman editors wanted to be and writers feared to cross. I thought she was my salvation. Instead, she was my executioner. Her rejection wasn't just a professional blow. It was personal. Because before that, we weren't just editor and writer. We were something else. Late-night coffees blurred into hand touches across the table. Editorial meetings ended with laughter and lingering stares. I let myself believe it was real. But when my book fell apart under her red pen, so did I. She didn't just end my career. She ended us, whatever fragile, blooming thing we were. And now she was in my living room, slouched on my couch, her expensive coat draped carelessly over the armrest, staring at me like I was the only person left in the world. "You shouldn't be here," I said, arms crossed, trying to cage the storm in my chest. She looked at me, and in her glassy eyes, I caught something that wasn't arrogance, wasn't cruelty. It was loneliness. "Maybe not," she whispered. But I couldn't stop myself. The room went quiet except for the hum of the city outside my window. I hated the way my heart betrayed me, beating faster because she was near. We stayed like that for a while, standing, her sitting like a standoff neither of us wanted to break. Then Evelyn leaned forward, elbows on her knees, and said the words that fractured the silence. "I never stopped thinking about you." I laughed. Bitter, sharp, cruel. "You ended me, Evelyn. Don't you dare sit there and act like you cared." Her jaw tightened. I did care. That was the problem. The problem. The word hung there, heavy, unfinished. I should have told her to leave. Instead, I found myself studying her face, how tired she looked, how her usual perfect composure was crumbling. And beneath all that, I saw it, the truth she'd never said aloud. "Why now?" I demanded. "Why come here like this after all this time?" Her lips trembled. "Because I'm tired of pretending." And just like that, the ground shifted beneath me. There are moments in life when anger can't keep you warm anymore. When the hurt, as deep as it runs, can't fight the pull of someone you once loved, maybe still love. Standing there in my tiny apartment, staring at Evelyn Hart, I realized I was at that moment. I hated her. I wanted her. And maybe, just maybe, I still loved her. "Stay the night," I heard myself say, though my brain screamed otherwise. Her eyes widened. She looked like she wanted to argue, to decline with that old icy pride. But instead she nodded. And in that nod I saw the tiniest crack of surrender. As I fetched her a blanket, I couldn't help but wonder, was I opening the door to healing? Or to another heartbreak? Either way, it was too late. Evelyn Hart was back in my life. And nothing would ever be the same. That was the night it all began again. Not with fireworks, not with promises, but with 2 women broken by the past, daring to sit in the same silence and breathe the same air, too afraid to speak the truth, too desperate not to. And as I watched her drift into sleep on my couch, I knew this wasn't over. It had never been over. Morning came too quickly. The light was too honest, too merciless, spilling into my tiny Brooklyn apartment like it had something to prove. And there she was, Evelyn Hart, sleeping on my couch like she belonged there, like the last 2 years hadn't been a battlefield between us. Her head rested on her arm, hair messy in a way I'd never seen before. Evelyn was always immaculate tailored blazers, heels that clicked authority into the ground, eyeliner sharp enough to cut. But here, with her makeup smudged and her breathing soft, she looked human. It was infuriating. I busied myself with the coffee maker, every clang of the pot louder than necessary. I wanted her to wake up. I wanted her gone. I wanted God, I didn't even know what I wanted. She stirred, groaning as she sat up. Is it morning already? I didn't look at her. That tends to happen after night. Her laugh was hoarse, quiet. Still sarcastic, I see. Still broken, still furious, still unable to stop staring at Evelyn. Some things don't change. She padded over to the counter, pulling my blanket around her shoulders like some fragile armor. For a woman who once destroyed me with a single editorial note, she suddenly looked so small. Coffee? I asked, sharper than I meant to. Please. I poured her a cup, handed it over without ceremony. Our fingers brushed. Just a second, barely the rebut. It sent a rush of heat through me that I hated myself for. She noticed. Of course she noticed. Evelyn always noticed everything. I owe you an explanation, she said. I scoffed. You owe me a hell of a lot more than that. Her lips pressed into a thin line, but she didn't argue. She just sat at the counter, holding the mug with both hands like it was the only thing tethering her to this world. I was cruel, she admitted. When I rejected your book. When I walked away. I told myself it was professional, that it was my job to be honest. But the truth was, I was afraid. Afraid. The word hit me harder than any of her rejections ever had. Afraid of what? That I might have talent? That I might actually matter? No, her eyes lifted, piercing, glassy. Afraid of how much you mattered to me. Silence. The city buzzed faintly outside. Car horns in the distance. The world moving on like our lives weren't collapsing into each other again. I shook my head, laughing bitterly. Don't do this. Don't sit here and rewrite history like it was some tragic love story. You didn't just hurt me, Evelyn, you buried me. You took the one thing I loved, the thing that defined me, and you crushed it. I know. Her voice cracked, and for the first time since I'd met her, Evelyn's heart looked breakable. And I've hated myself every day for it. I should have thrown her out. I should have let my anger win. But instead, I asked the one question I swore I never would. Then why now? Why show up drunk at my door after 2 years of silence? She looked at me. Really looked like she was trying to carve her confession into my skin. Because the truth has a way of clawing its way out. And because. She hesitated, then whispered. Because I heard you're writing again. My stomach flipped. How do you? Publishing is a small world, she said softly. And I couldn't stay away. Not this time. I hated that part of me still lit up at her words. That despite everything, my heart was stupid enough to leap at the thought of her caring about my writing. You don't get to walk back into my life just because you regret the past, I said firmly, though my voice wavered. Her eyes didn't leave mine. I'm not here for redemption. I'm here because I never stopped wanting you. And I think, maybe you never stopped wanting me either. The audacity of her. The sheer ruthless audacity. And yet, she wasn't wrong. The next days blurred into something I didn't recognize. Evelyn didn't leave. At first, she stayed out of necessity, too hungover to face the city, too shaken to slip back into her perfect Manhattan life. But then she lingered, finding excuses, helping me cook dinner, sitting with me as I typed on my laptop, asking questions about my new manuscript, her tone softer, kinder, nothing like the cold editor I once knew. It was disarming. Dangerous. Because the more she stayed, the more I remembered what it felt like when it was good between us. The late-night coffees. The sparks in her smile when she let her guard down. The way she listened to me like every word mattered. And the more I remembered, the less I could keep my walls intact. One night, a storm rattled the city. Thunder shook the windows and the power flickered out. I lit candles, the glow painting the apartment in warm gold. Evelyn sat across from me, shadows dancing on her face, eyes softer than I'd ever seen them. You used to write by candlelight, she said, almost smiling. You told me it made you feel like the words mattered more. You remember that? I whispered. I remember everything about you. The confession hung there, thick, unbearable. I should have changed the subject. Instead, I leaned closer, unable to stop myself. The storm roared outside, but the silence between us was louder. Her hand reached across the table, tentative, trembling. And when her fingers brushed mine, I didn't pull away. God help me, I didn't pull away. Later, lying in bed alone, I cursed myself for letting her back in, for letting her touch feel like home again. But the truth was undeniable. As much as I tried to resist her, Evelyn Hart was still the gravity I couldn't escape. And I wasn't sure I wanted to. That was just the beginning. Because with Evelyn, nothing stayed simple for long. The storm lasted through the night, but Evelyn didn't go back to her side of the couch. She lingered, watching me type, her chin propped in her hand, eyes hazy with something that wasn't just exhaustion. Every keystroke felt heavy under her gaze. I'd written in coffee shops, in subways, in libraries, but never like this, never with the ghost of my past sitting so close, alive, and unbearably present. "You've gotten better," she said softly when I paused. I frowned. "You haven't even read it." "I don't need to. I can see it in the way your fingers move. More certain. Stronger. You finally believe in your words." Her voice wrapped around me like smoke, dangerous and intoxicating. I wanted to shove it away. I wanted to lean into it. Both urges burned equally. When the storm finally eased, I expected her to leave, to gather her coat, put her mask back on, and return to the life that had no room for me. But she stayed. Another night. And another. By the third morning I snapped. "You can't keep doing this," I said, slamming my notebook shut. "You can't just camp out in my apartment like nothing happened." Her face flickered with hurt, quickly masked. "Do you want me to leave?" "Yes." The word caught in my throat. "No." "God, I don't know." She stood, pacing like the walls were closing in. "Do you think it's easy for me? Do you think I don't replay every word I said to you? Every look, every mistake?" "You don't get to play the victim," I shot back. "You held all the power, Evelyn. You destroyed me. And now you waltz in here like like someone who still loves you." The words landed like a blade. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. My chest ached, my hands trembled. She closed the distance between us, slow, deliberate. "I loved you then, and I was terrified of it. I love you now, and it's worse. Because now I know what it's like to live without you." Her breath mingled with mine. I could taste the confession in the air, bitter and sweet all at once. And God help me, I wanted to believe her. But belief was a dangerous thing. 2 years ago, I believed in her and it destroyed me. So instead of kissing her, instead of giving in, I stepped back. "You don't get to say that," I whispered. "Not until you prove it." Her jaw tightened. "Then let me prove it." The next day she followed through. Not with flowers or apologies, but with something that mattered more. She read my new manuscript. Every page. Every rough paragraph. Every messy draft. I watched her, curled on my couch with her reading glasses perched low, brow furrowed, lips moving silently as she absorbed the words. It was torture. But it was also the most alive I'd felt in years. When she finally looked up, her eyes shone not with criticism, not with coldness, but with pride. "This," she said, voice steady, "is brilliant." I blinked. "You're not just saying that?" Her lips curved, faint and real. "You don't know how little I lie." Something shifted then. We began to orbit each other differently. Less like enemies. More like something dangerously close to lovers again. She made breakfast one morning, burnt eggs, over-buttered toast, and a sheepish smile I never thought I'd see on her. I laughed until I cried, and she joined me, shoulders shaking, walls crumbling. Another night I fell asleep at my desk, and when I woke there was a blanket draped over me. Her handwriting scribbled on the margins of my manuscript. "This line cuts deep. Don't change it." It felt like we were rewriting us draft by draft, mistake by mistake, finding beauty in the mess. But the past is a stubborn shadow. One evening as I scrolled through old emails for research, I stumbled on it. Her rejection letter. The one that gutted me. I read it again, my throat tightening. The clinical tone. The detached dismissal. Words that had once set fire to everything I believed in. And it came rushing back, the humiliation, the betrayal, the night I cried myself empty because Evelyn Hart decided I wasn't enough. I didn't realize I was shaking until she touched my shoulder. "What is it?" I turned the screen toward her. Her face paled. You kept that. How could I not? My voice cracked. This is what you left me with. This is why I stopped writing for 2 years. Because you told me I wasn't worth the paper my words were printed on. I didn't mean. Don't. I stood heart pounding. Don't you dare say you didn't mean it. You wrote every word. You wanted to cut me down. Her eyes brimmed uncharacteristic, raw. I was trying to protect you. From what? From me, she burst out, tears spilling. From falling in love with me when I knew I couldn't give you what you deserved. So I pushed you away. I thought it would save you. Instead, I ruined you. And I ruined myself. The confession tore the room in two. My anger flared, but so did something else, something more dangerous. Compassion. Because looking at her, broken and trembling, I realized she wasn't just the villain of my story. She was her own worst enemy. And maybe she always had been. That night I didn't send her away. I let her stay. We sat in silence side by side, not touching, not speaking, just breathing. Two women scarred by the same fire. Unsure if we could survive the flame of trying again. But even in the silence, one truth burned undeniable. This wasn't the end of us. It was only the beginning. Forgiveness is not a single moment, it is a war inside your chest. 4 days after Evelyn's confession, I lived in that war. 1 second I wanted to throw her out, banish her ghost forever. The next, I wanted to hold her until the past dissolved like smoke. She didn't run this time. She stayed. Quiet. Patient. A woman stripped of her armor, waiting for a verdict she wasn't sure she deserved. At night, I'd hear her restless footsteps pacing my living room. In the morning, I'd catch her reading my drafts with red-rimmed eyes, scrawling notes in the margins, tender and sharp all at once. This line is fire. Don't dull it. Trust yourself. And I hated that I needed her. Hated that her voice in my margins felt like oxygen again. The climax came one evening when she asked simply, "Do you want me to leave?" I froze. Because my answer wasn't simple. "Yes," I whispered. "And no." Her throat worked. "Then tell me how to stay." The storm inside me broke. All the pain, the longing, the years of silence, I let them spill. You ruined me, Evelyn. You made me believe I wasn't enough. You left me with nothing but shame. And yet, my voice cracked. And yet I still want you. God help me, I still love you. Her face crumbled. She crossed the room in 2 strides and pulled me into her arms. And this time I didn't resist. The kiss was nothing like our past. It wasn't tentative, wasn't stolen. It was desperate. Hungry. A reclaiming of everything we had lost, everything we had denied ourselves. Her lips trembled against mine, her hands clutching me like I might vanish if she let go. And I clung back because for the first time I believed her. I believed us. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't clean. But it was real. And real was enough. The days that followed were fragile, beautiful. We learned each other again. Not the polished editor and the desperate writer, but 2 women rebuilding on broken ground. We cooked together, laughed until our sides ached, argued and made up with kisses that left us breathless. She read every draft I wrote, not as judge and jury, but as partner, champion, lover. And slowly, piece by piece, she gave me back the thing I thought she had stolen forever, me, faith in myself. But the world outside my apartment hadn't changed. When word spread that I was finishing a new book, the publishing industry buzzed again. Editors called. Agents begged. And Evelyn, once my greatest enemy, became my fiercest advocate. First I resisted. I can't trust you with my career again. She met my eyes, steady, unwavering. Then don't trust me as your editor. Trust me as the woman who loves you. Let me stand beside you, not above you. And for the first time I believed she meant it. The night before I sent my manuscript out, we climbed to the rooftop of my building. The city stretched below us, glowing alive. I was wrong, she said, voice thick with emotion. I thought ending things with you would protect us both. But it only destroyed us. If you'll have me, you'll trust, may want to spend the rest of my life proving you're more than enough. Tears stung my eyes. I cupped her face, pressing my forehead to hers. I don't need perfect words, Evelyn. I just need you. And I think I always have. We kissed as the sun dipped, painting the sky in fire. This time there were no walls, no fear, no unfinished sentences between us. Just love, messy, raw, breathtaking love. Months later, when my book hit shelves and my name finally shone where it belonged, Evelyn was there in the front row of every reading. Not as the editor who once ended me, but as the woman who held my hand, who believed in me when I was too broken to believe in myself. And in the quiet hours of night when the world fell away, she would whisper against my skin, "We rewrote the ending, didn't we?" And I would smile, kiss her, and answer, "No. We just finally wrote the truth." Because love, real love, is not about erasing the pain. It's about surviving it together. And we did. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to get notifications about next videos.